Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I always love starting the show laughing because we are living in some crazy times right now. So I'm keeping it light today, right? I'm keeping it light today with my dear friend, Jenny Robles. So Jenny Robles is here. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
All right. I'm going to tell you a little bit of the framework. You know how I do. I like to set it up a little bit, and then you won't hear from me because you're not here to listen to me. You hear me every damn day. We're going to listen to Jenny today because she's got a great story and she's got a great business and she's helping people. And you know how much I love to help people. Helping people, my kind of people. So I met Jenny through Andy Gold. I feel like saying it very New York, long one. Andy Gold from New York. So Andy is, Dr. Andy Gold is a professor at HCC, and he did this connection with us. And I remember even seeing your name, I was like, okay, that's my people. I feel like I know everybody. You're looking at me and you see this like white Irish girl. I know, but I feel like I've been so blessed in my life to have not only been brought up by Irish immigrant parents, but also to grow up in New York. So like all my friends were like Robles and Velez and, I was like, and I was being taught Boricua, Morena, Boricua, right? Back in the day. So I knew that she was going to test me, like, who is this girl? And then we met and it was like, we'd known each other our whole lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely a good meet. Definitely, for sure. I was working with Andy in the Collaboration Center so I can certify my business as a woman-owned business. And he directed me a lot. And I one time called him and I said, and he didn't, without any hesitation, said, you have to meet Sharon. Sharon's your girl. She's from New York. You guys would connect and she can help guide you. And that was the first day that I called you, the same very day I spoke to Andy.
Oh, we love Andy. Andy and Beth. They're both powerhouses at HCC and they're doing so much for our community. So I want you to tell the story of Jenny, right? So you have this great company, CPR with Jenny. I mean, I have watched you evolve. I love it. I love watching you today. It just fills my heart every day. But I want everybody to know that, you didn't just one day become like CPR with JR.
No.
It's been a road, right? So because this, my show, and I started this daily show because I wanted to help people, through the pandemic, through all of the racial unrest, but I also, I want to help people in business. So I think it's important that people hear the journey to where you are today. So why don't you fill them in, Jenny?
Sure. So I would say my career started in law enforcement in New York, and I was in law enforcement there. And then I transitioned here to Florida, and I was also in law enforcement. So I was basically introduced to health and safety, and that was where, I knew that I wanted to do the trainings, and I wanted to teach people and just focus on what I'm doing today. So that's where it all started, really. So once I did the law enforcement, I met a young lady that was an owner of a business that worked with adult people with disabilities when I came to Florida. And I decided to divert my focus from law enforcement and transition to my own business for the first time. And it was not doing CPR with JR, it was Butterfly Care Provider. I was then doing services for people with disabilities, doing supportive living and supportive employment, and working with people with disabilities for about 14 years. And I had my own business, and I was able to get contracts from the state of Florida, and it worked out perfect. And during that time, in the middle of that time when I was doing Butterfly Care Provider, I then started to introduce myself into going back into health and safety, and then incorporated that with Butterfly Care. One of my last clients who I had for 14 years had passed with a cardiac arrest in January of 2019. And that's when I hung up my hat. I waited for him because when you have people depending on you, they CUS family, and I wasn't going to leave him until I knew he was either going to transition out of the home or, you know, go into a different place. But I knew he needed me. But he went into a cardiac arrest and he passed, and I knew that I couldn't do this business anymore. And then I transitioned my full-time business into CPR with JR, and I went ahead and I did that. So I've actually been doing CPR, health and safety training since 2014. But prior to that, of course, I was introduced to it in law enforcement. I was a resource officer, so I basically helped in different departments, including the training department. So I really was just, I knew that this is where I wanted to be. So after Butterfly Care Provider, I decided to go ahead and open this second business, and this is where I'm going to stay. And I love it. And I love going out there and providing the health and safety services that I do, and meeting new people as well. I meet a lot of different new people.
So yeah, step back. Sounds like there's an animal that's running through, a big one too. But that's
Really?
It's not Charlie Brown. It's not Charlie Brown. Well, maybe it was his snoring. He is under my desk. Anywho, so I love that. I love the transition. I love that you have that background, because now today you, I mean, you're a mobile agency. You are also right now doing virtual, because like, who isn't? We are doing this virtual right now until maybe the world goes back to something that we recognize. Hopefully we all come out a lot better than we came in. But
Yes.
You have definitely trained a lot of companies. So just to give some information to the audience about like what type of corporate companies, I think that you've worked with like insurance companies and construction companies, and what are you teaching them?
Right. So I do the on-site mobile training, which is very convenient for a lot of my companies, because it's very difficult to get everybody together at one time, right? No one wants to come in on their day off. So I go out there, bring all my equipment. And some of the major companies I've worked with is Humana and Lowe's. Raymond James Financial is another one that I've been working with. I definitely work for big construction companies as well. Colin Construction recently had me do training for them, and it was nice. You know, it was a kind of a, I just go to any spot, which is weird because the construction company spots, you can virtually be in a trailer in the middle of a construction site where they're working, and there's trucks passing and guys in full gear, and they're coming in and they're dirty, but they're geared up and they're ready to learn. And it's surprising how much attention that I get when I'm teaching them. And that's all I want. That's all I want, them to absorb the information, and they do. Get them certified, keep them safe. And
yeah, and you don't just do, so there's so many things that I love. Of course, you know, my affection for helping people when they go into like an overdose. So you have, what is the name of that device? And tell me about that. Tell the audience about that, because as we know, we've had this unbelievable opioid.
I think I have it here. Okay, so I actually have it here in my first aid kit. So Narcan, also known as naloxone, naloxone comes in a little aluminum folder like this here. And basically it is available in all of our pharmacies for about $126. Narcan helps the reverse of drug overdoses. If someone was or suspected to be in a drug overdose, if you had Narcan, it can help them reverse some of those symptoms until EMS comes. It is only a temporary resolution. It only stays in the body for about 30 minutes, but it is a resolution to helping the respiratory go back into its regular state of breathing and keep the person stabilized. So a lot of people don't know about Narcan. I teach it in all my CPR classes. I think it's important for people to know that it is available.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people that don't know it's available. I think that companies should have them too. I mean, I, as a boss, I remember one time when I had an employee, she didn't go into any type of overdose, but she certainly needed help. And employers need to be informed in corporate and private business and beyond. So you have some of your friends in the background. I see them. You have your baby friend.
My baby friend, my baby. I like I use my Preston equipment. My Preston equipment allows for my students to see how good they're doing. It guides them as well. It has lightings. The lights measures the depth in which you're doing your compressions. So they like it because it's real light. They have a feedback device that they can work with, and it kind of keeps them guided while they're training. And I love them. And that's all I use. That's all my equipment. And no matter how many bins I have to travel out with, I will travel out to you with all my good equipment. No, you know, I always believe in good training.
Oh, no, you do the best. And then there's also like you do for babysitters, you know, like
Yes.
this is so funny when I was first getting to know you and you were telling me all about that. I'm like, and I ran a pediatric office for 8 years before I opened my business. And I thought, wow, like really babysitters, nannies, all of those companies today, I'm hoping that they're providing this type of training. And is it something that everybody should get yearly? Like what is the constraints for, is there certification? What does that look like?
Mhm. The child and safety babysitting course is geared towards tweens and teens, basically 11, 12 and up. And so it can be for boys and for girls that are interested in maybe opening their first business and doing babysitting. Like who hasn't babysit as their first business? That's like the most common thing, right? I have done it as well.
That's what I did.
Except I didn't get paid for it, but I did it. But this really guides them in learning the safety and the foods not to give the child or give the child, from answering the door to answering the phone to escaping a fire. And I mean, it's just so informative. And I also incorporate in that course CPR and basic first aid, more basic first aid. They do introduce some, but definitely I incorporate CPR because I think it's very important. That's another big thing. And so once they complete the course, they still get a 2-year certification. So people that will hire you will say, wow, this, you know, individual has gone through this training, and it's probably, you know, more important to them that they at least have that knowledge of being safe with their children, which is very important. So definitely offer that to a lot of my Girl Scouts or Always Ladies First. She's a nonprofit organization. She had her girls who just graduated high school, before they graduated high school, do this full course. Actually, after my meeting with you, I'm going to refresh them. I'm going to refresh them because I feel that it's important for us to connect and for them to know the ongoing steps of responding to an emergency in the first few minutes. And I'm more than happy to do that and to keep connected with my clients, my students.
Yeah, everybody needs that refresher. I mean, everybody. And I'm so glad that you're doing it. It's a great service to provide for all of us. All right, so let's shift a little bit.
Okay.
I want to talk about Jenny, when I first met her doing social media.
Yes. Oh my goodness gracious.
And Jenny today. What happened?
Okay. So I met Sharon. Okay, I met Sharon, and because of Andy, I met you. And so we worked together. And after we worked together for that time, it really opened my eyes to getting out of my comfort zone. And I feel like I'm a very private person, but if you're gonna be in business, then you got to learn how to separate, you know, being private and also just being yourself and letting people know who you are. And I remember you telling me this, and I always looked at the notes after our meetings and your guidance in being able to focus on the social media platforms that will attract my specific niche and also my business and grow my business and let people know who I am and just be able to verbalize, do more videos. That's something I didn't want to do, but now it's like, that's what I do. I love my videos now, be able to express myself. But guess what, Sharon, you're right. You know, people love videos. People love to see those videos. And yes, you're trying to send a message, but you're sending it in a fun, interactive, friendly way. They can be my friend. They don't have to make business with me. They could just see who I am, and hopefully we can connect in any way possible. And I think that's a good start for any business.
You blew up. I mean, it has been so wonderful to watch you. It's like once you find your vibe,
I know.
there's no stopping you now. I mean, I've seen you do dances on TikTok and I love it. All right. And then there was another time that I remember the day where I was just like, oh my God, like you have to meet my Latin tribe. You have to meet my girls. Like I feel one of the most important things in business is our relationships. And sometimes, and I do the same thing with doctors. I'm like, listen, I know that you think you're the only doctor that has kind of broken out of corporate and done your own thing. You need to meet your doctor tribe, because there's a whole line of them that have done that, and we all need to support each other. So I think you met Maria
Yes.
Campos and Michelle Turpot. And how long was your first meeting?
Long. It felt like it was, we did an all day meet. I think that when we sat there and we had brunch or breakfast, that Maria catered us to, because it was marvelous. And we had such great conversation. You were a big topic in our conversation for connecting us and our motivation today as well. And Maria and Michelle is like, they're really like true people to be around and inspire you as a woman, as a woman-owned business, as an individual. So I definitely connected with them, and today we're very good friends. I feel like they're my friends because they check on you, they send you messages, they support you. When you least expect it, I hope you're taking care of yourself, Maria says. Self-care, 7 minutes off your phone, 7 minutes off, or 37 minutes, or whichever way she says it. And it works, because you do have to disconnect yourself from your business as well to be productive the next time you go around. And that's what I've been doing as well. So I take advice of those, especially those that have been successful. You, Sharon, Maria is very successful, Michelle, and they're focused. And so who better than to have role model you than strong women like that? That's how I see it.
It makes me so happy. And then you met Jenny too.
Jenny, yes, Jenny's my new connect, and we're probably going to schedule a class because she's a swim instructor. So Jenny and I are going to try to put a group together of individuals, because swim safety awareness has everything to do with learning CPR. So if a drowning occurs, then you need to know CPR. You need to know it, and you need to know it quick in the first few minutes,
And so I always think, like, it's so important that we think about who we are as women business owners. We just think about who we are as individuals, and who we're going to connect with, right? So just look at the line, right? Andy was like, oh, Sharon, she's from New York. You're going to connect with her. You're from New York. We were like, Boogie Down Bronx right away. It was just phenomenal. And then I knew, because then I knew you, I'm like, oh, you have to meet Michelle and Maria. And then when I met Jenny, we were at some event far away, and I turned to Alyssa and I was like, oh, I gotta introduce her to the tribe.
Yes.
Because it really is like, I connect so well with people from New York, with people from Ireland, like, putting it out there too, like any of my Irish people out there, because my family's from there. And we connect because of where we're from and how we were raised and who we are as individuals. So it's been such a pleasure to watch you kind of flourish. And of course, I appreciate you having my book.
Yes, I do. I love your book. And let me point out something that I really, on page, if anybody hasn't had your book already, they should. That's number one. I enjoyed reading it, and I just love the way that you're so honest about everything that you do. And that's probably why you're the person that people love today, really, is because you are just a true person. And
thank you.
I'm going to cry.
Thank you.
Page 73. Business, life, and the parallel, right? If they're read here, it says, if you show humility to someone regarding mistakes you make in life and in your business, you will come to understand the true power of a human connection. To me, that is powerful, and that's just a little bit of what this book can tell you. And it showed me just to be myself. And when I worked with you and then I read the book, I felt like being myself is definitely key. And there was a lot of reasons why I didn't want to get out of my comfort zone, but I did. I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I worked with you. I'm glad I met the individuals that I had in the interim of doing all of that. I have seen an increase in my business and my connection with people, people being able to communicate with me, because I seem more approachable. So I thank you for working with me and giving me that opportunity to really work on that and also be successful at it. You know, I think I'm doing pretty good now.
You are.
I feel good about what I'm doing. So because I feel good about what I'm doing, I feel like I'm being more productive in my services as well.
You are like, I was so touched just to see that you have my book out. So I've done, I don't know, 40, I don't even know. I think 49 shows now. I have no idea. I'll have to look one day.
That's amazing. I think that your shows are awesome. I think they are.
Well, you know what? It's there's only one plan, and it's just like what you're doing with your business. It's you're helping people.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own special way of being able to help their community and their friends and their family. And especially now, I mean, I think whatever we can do to show up for others is going to always be remembered. And I'm so humbled by everything that you said, and I appreciate you so much. And nobody else has put my book on the table while I interviewed them, so thank you for that.
Yes, of course. I was like, I gotta, Sharon. First of all, I have this in my office, so I look at it every day because it's a reminder of just being myself, right? Because when I think of you, I think of being myself constantly, right? So I do that, and then you know, again, I enjoyed reading it, and I do share it with individuals, especially when topics like this come up. I have a person that I actually provided a service for, and she ended up needing some guidance, and I was talking to her about you. So there's a lot of reasons why this book is important to me, and why you're important to me too.
You're awesome. All right, well, I will send you a check for all of the kind words. Actually, that sounds very antiquated.
It's free. It's free. We're friends.
You have TikTok, so I'll just Venmo that shit, okay? I think you're amazing. I'm so impressed with all that you do for so many, and I highly recommend CPR with JR. You shine, and I definitely encourage you to follow her on social, especially TikTok, because girl is out there killing it. She definitely can dance with those. Are we calling them dummies? Is that the politically correct way?
Yeah, they're people know them as dummies, but they're mannequins. That's what they're called, mannequins.
Are there names for them? Do you have names?
They're Preston mannequins, and my favorite guy that comes to all my classes, his name is Bob.
I love it.
Bob is my friend.
Bob is your friend. Well, thank you so much, my friend. It has been an honor to spend this time with you. You're doing great work for the world.
Thank you, Sharon, and I love what you're doing as well. Keep it up, and I support you 100%.
And I support you too, girl.
Thank you.
So don't forget, if you mention that you have seen the show or listened to the podcast, Thai Technology, 3 months for free.